All right, so let's see. Music provides an apt metaphor for the practice of medicine. Like the best music, the best medical practice combines technical skill with individual artistry. These two aspects of medicine correspond respectively to the newer paradigm of evidence based medicine. Um, and ostensibly and the ostensibly opposing paradigm of clinical experience. Many physicians see evidence-based medicine as rigid and regimented, as stilted and uninspiring as a poorly performed piece of classical music. By contrast, economists and other health experts often view the enigmatic and seemingly unpredictable use of clinical judgment as analogous to over-amplified performance of rock music, uncontrollable, chaotic, and obeying few rules. So so they're making, you know, an analogy between music and medicine, and
Hmm.
they're saying that the best music, the best medicine combines technical skill and individual artistry. So there's basically, so if it was just technical skill,
Hmm.
then it's basically um, too rigid and stilted, like a poorly performed piece of classical music. And if it's the other, if it's like the other extreme, which is too predictable and stuff, it's kind of like rock music. So, all right, let's see. Music physicians who rely on clinical experience base their assessments and predictions on a complex combination of observations derived from years of medical practice and the individual's and the physician's own values, intuition, and judgment. Unfortunately, some physicians consider information derived from clinical experience to be sacrosanct and above questioning. Sacrosanct, another word for like sacred, basically. Like, you can't talk bad about it.
Got
For
you.
yeah, for a variety of reasons, clinical experiences can be of limited use in determining the effectiveness of particular medical interventions. So, okay, they're saying that um, like physicians who rely on their experience um, is one way, but some other physicians think that, or rather, all right. So physicians like to use their clinical experience, and that's good. However, some physicians think that their experience is above questioning, and so he's starting to say, like, for a variety of reasons, clinical experience is of limited use. So they're going to start talking about, I guess, uh, how examples of how limited it is. So let's see. Treatments generally work in clinical practice. However, without the benefit of a control group for a comparison, a central requirement of evidence-based medicine that is rarely possible in clinical practice, we are unable to tell whether a treatment is responsible for a cure or if the natural history of the disorder explains results. See how it's kind of saying like we can't find any, like we can't be sure of causation.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so this false attribution of the results of therapy, um, called the illusory correlation, see, instead of
Yeah.
causation. Okay, may make someone very resistant to considering contradictory data from better information sources such as randomized clinical trials. So overall, I'm getting the impression that uh, this author is talking about how in medicine, the doctors need more than just their own experience when treating a patient. They need to
Hmm.
also look at, experimental data and research.
Yeah.
All right, there are a number of reasons that clinical experience may provide insufficient or misleading data. Results obtained through clinical experience with a few patients are too often hastily applied as general rule of practice without subjecting the rule to more rigorous scientific testing. The small sample size of clinical experiences and the low regard of physicians for the role of chance can lead to errors in estimates of the probability of benefit. Good clinical judgment. So it seems like the judgment aspect is like the natural kind of thing that like a musician has, and then the research and stuff like that is the opposite. Okay, so good clinical judgment involves matching patients to the therapies most likely to work for them. Thus, new or unproven treatments will always look better than they are because those patients selected for treatment were likely to do well anyway. While this approach maximizes the probabilities of clinical success, it also violates a fundamental principle of research. Only through comparing randomly assigned groups can we determine the effectiveness of therapy. So they're just saying that the treatments that physicians use based on their good judgment will kind of give you a will give you a biased result because it'll most likely work for them. So the only way to really tell if it's going to work is through a randomly assigned groups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some academics have been quick to proclaim evidence-based medicine the remedy for the limitations of clinical experience. So now he's starting to say, even though he's been saying all this time, like, clinical experience is not enough and we need to look at evidence-based medicine, he starts off by saying, some academics have been quick to say that evidence-based medicine is something that will fix everything. So now he's going to most likely talk about the limitations of evidence-based medicine. And that's what they exactly just said. But evidence-based medicine has limitations of its own. The demanding standards of research require that certain clinical issues and or particular patient types will be overlooked. Questions from everyday practice that do not fit the scientific method are left unanswered, and complicated patient problems, the type most often seen in practice, are frequently excluded from studies. As a result, clean research results may not apply to everyday clinical situations, which are often messy. So yeah, that has limitations of its own. Evidence-based medicine focuses primarily on the effectiveness of care. Is one particular drug more effective than another? Is one test better? Those are the examples. This approach does not, however, account for the other aspects of patient care, such as patient preferences, economics, and ethical issues. Norway, for instance, is discouraging the use of osteoporotic agent allodraonate. Although the drug decreases hip fractures, 90 high-risk women would have to be treated with the drug for 3 years to prevent one hip fracture at a cost that could bankrupt the country's medical plan. So that's an example of how evidence-based medicine doesn't take into consideration economic concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let's see it. And all right. Try not to show me the answer, but okay, let's see. So, some physicians. Okay, implies. So it's not something that he's going to say explicitly.
Mm-hmm.
So some physicians tend to give clinical experience undue preeminence over research experience. I'm gonna say yeah because of what he said about it being sacrosanct and above question. Let's see. Even at its best, clinical experience is anarchic. No, because anarchy means no rules whatsoever, and clinical experience is not devoid of rules. It's just that it's not as rigid in its rules as evidence-based. So that's way too extreme. The role of clinical experience in the practice of medicine is overly complex. Okay. We have him say that it's complex, but is it overly complex? I don't know about that. Physicians embrace clinical experience primarily because it gives priority to their own intuition. So that's saying that the main reason that physicians use clinical experience is because it is kind of like a selfish thing that makes their intuition, that just helps them confirm their intuition. So just to make sure, I would scroll up a bit, like just a little bit more. It's like towards the top. So okay, second paragraph. So they're saying that the physicians who use clinical experience, complex combination, right? So that's where they want to trick you and make you choose the answer that says overly complex.
But because that's what they did, trick me.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, because they want you to see that they say that it's complex, but the keyword there is overly complex. Is it overly complex? Doesn't seem like he's saying that it's overly complex, just that it's complex. And then it says some physicians. Oh, and also that choice, in addition to saying overly complex, says even at its best. Like, they're saying, like, even if a physician had, like, the best clinical experience, right? It's still, it's overly complex. That's two things that are wrong with that choice. Whereas here they're saying some physicians consider that their clinical experience is, above questioning. And I think, choice A said something like it wasn't completely extreme. It was like some or something like that. Yeah, some physicians. So that is what makes me lean towards that.
Got you.
And yeah.
Okay.
So now like two reasons why that wrong answer is wrong, and the reason that and the right answer we found in the passage, and keyword there is some. So like, be careful of like absolute statements. Remember?
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Which of the following is most illustrative of the illusory correlation bias as it is described in the passage? So this is going to be like like something that implies causation. So let's see. A flutist sometimes performs a difficult trill correctly and sometimes does not, and is unable to determine the cause of her inconsistency. An athlete looks like she has mastered the pole vaulting technique, but since she never actually clears a bar, her coach calls her a mastery an illusion. A teacher measures his students' performance, praises them in hope their performance will improve, and then measures their performance again to assess the effect of praise. Okay. That seems to be like able to prove causation, which would make it okay. So, and then a dog trainer attributes a dog's correct response to lie down to the dog's training, but the trainer gives a command only at the end of a tiring walk. So I'm going to lean on that, but let me just look at illusory correlation bias just to make sure.
You're going to lean on which one?
The last one. So let me see. Illusory correlation bias.
Right here.
Yeah, right there. So that's the false attribution. So that's saying that that's like exactly what we talked about before with correlation, not causation. Like they're saying that the example that they give is saying that without a control group, right?
Yeah.
You give a treatment to a patient, right? And that patient gets better. And you can't tell whether or not the patient gets better because of that treatment or because natural history of the disorder, meaning like the disorder just naturally gets better. So we can correlate, there's a correlation between treatment and getting better, but we can't say that the treatment causes it to get better. And then in the choices, that dog thing, right? So, so the dog says, lie down. I mean, the person says lie down to the dog, right? and the dog lies down. So he thinks that it's because he has trained the dog to lie down when he says lie down. However, the trainer only says lie down at the end of a tiring walk. So is the dog lying down because of him saying to lie down, or is the dog lying down because he's tired? Because it's at the end of a tiring walk.
Yeah.
So there's a correlation there, but we cannot find a causation because there's essentially a confounding variable there. There's no control. If there was a control, for instance, if he asked that, if he gives that command, not at the end of the tiring walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can say, okay, this training worked. I'm saying lie down, the dog is lying down. But there's, so that's very important, and you'll see that a lot in PS section as well, but yeah, the correlation versus causation thing is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. It was that. Okay, that was the answer. Good. Okay,
yeah.
So let's see. This one, let me see. All right, why does the author most likely mention the role of chance in paragraph 4? Okay, let me look at that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so now there's all right. So they're saying results from clinical experience cannot be proven to work for the general population as a whole because of a small sample size.
Yeah.
This is all actually the good stuff to learn in the PS section. You learn a lot about experimental design and research methods.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff is really good to know. And yeah, if you have too small of a sample size, that's why I say don't be too concerned about the scores that you get on your practice full lengths.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's too small of a sample size.
Oh.
So you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, if you score lower on your second practice test, it feels like you're not improving. Feels like you're getting worse. But since there's so much information that could be on the exam, stuff that you learned from that first test may not show up again until 20 tests later.
Yeah.
So the sample size is just too small to say that there is a trend there.
I wish they would just make the exam the same for everybody and use questions from topics from the 4 pull-ins that they have on here.
So let's say they did that though. Then everyone would do well. So
the odds are against us. That's the thing. They don't want people to do well.
Exactly. So if the test was too easy, right? It's not going to be a good test because everyone's going to do well on it. And it's not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to, they look at the percentile, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if everyone did well, you're going to be at whatever 0th percentile or something because everyone got the same thing, right? The only thing that they look at is how well you do compared to everyone else. So if the test that's why it can't be too easy. But of course but anyway, so yeah, they're saying there's the element of there's that role of chance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be, so as part of an explanation why clinical impressions may be flawed, it'll be that one. Let me see the rest. Response to concerns about the small sample size clinicians may use. Okay, that's saying a response to the concerns, but the concerns about the small sample size is the role of chance.
Okay, wait. Why does the author? Oh, response to concerns. And you said the response to concern is the role of chance?
No, the concern is the role of chance. Like, if there's too small of a sample size, the concern with that is that it's just chance. Like with
so it's not a response to it.
Exactly. So like again, like with taking practice MCATs, there's that element of chance where things that you studied that you learned from the first exam may not be tested on the second exam. So there's that role of that's chance, right? A response to that would be like increase the sample size, take more tests, or something like that.
Gotcha.
So it won't be a response. It's the concern itself. So D is out. Let's see. C. Okay, it's definitely not going to make it superior, and you knew that right away, but so you crossed it out. Part of it as part of an argument against the use of intuition in medical practice. So, yeah, no. It's not saying that it's against an intuition. It's saying that it's against clinical impressions, and intuition is a part of an overall clinical impression. So,
yeah,
I would lean on A.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Author. Well, okay. This is the economic thing as an example of why evidence-based medicine is not By the way, so when they say exemplar, what they mean by that is best example.
Yeah.
Okay. Just in case you didn't know that word, but yeah, it means that it's because they're saying example and then they're saying exemplar, but no, it's going to be an example of accounting for economics, right?
Yeah, and I crossed that out.
Tell me what you were thinking.
I mean, I sped through this paragraph because I was trying to hurry up to finish. But yeah.
What do you think you're spending too much time on for these?
It depends because sometimes like this passage, I know it didn't take me a long time to read because it wasn't that many words that I, like had problem with. I think it was the questions because I can always like cross out one or two answers, but then I start debating with like the last two answers that's left, and then I usually pick the wrong one.
So like remember if you're taking too long on a question, flag it and move on.
But that's the thing. I don't know how to time myself for cars like with psych. I mean, with the other sections.
Wait, sorry. They let you flag the question. Oh, I see the flag button. So okay, what were you saying?
Yeah. I don't know how much time to take per passage for these because it's not like you have a discrete go to the easy ones. What I did try this time was trying to look for the passages that seemed more of an easy read, and I tried to do those first. But as far as like timing myself, I guess that's where
use the same strategy for the other sections where try to speed through it, and if anything is giving you and to flag questions that that you don't know the answer to certainly, and if you're taking too much time on it, that way you get the same benefit. Like you end up at the last passage with like 20 minutes left. Try that strategy for all the sections.
But if with the 20 minutes left, does that mean I answered all the questions and I go back to the flagged ones and double check, or does that mean I just get all the way to the end and I go back to the questions I didn't answer because I was taking too much time on them?
Oh, okay. So, when you flag, click anything because worst case scenario, right? You run out of time. You don't want any unanswered questions because, that means 0% chance of getting that question right. If you guess, at least a 25% chance, right? So, but yes, definitely, when you have those 20 minutes left, go and review the flagged ones. There should be,
Mm-hmm.
an option like review flagged, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, do that, and yeah, so because this one, you said like you didn't like you're running out of time, and I think it said that you spent like 50 seconds on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's less than I saw like your average time. It was like a minute and 30 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this one you would have gotten right if you yeah, I think you just answered too fast here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, do you see
I
how
think
it
I
would be? Oh, I didn't get that. What'd you say?
Oh no, I just said I feel like I was already over it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
what's out of the people you tutored,
Uh,
like they go to the exam, do you ever have someone that's like in the score ranges as me, like
yeah. Most.
501 to maybe like 507, and then they go to the exam and they get a little higher, or I don't know.
What'd you say
Because
about
I'm
507 or
huh?
what'd you say about 507?
Like from like I think my range for the exams is probably gonna be a 500 to a 507.
That's good.
I mean,
Compared to
it
the
is.
495, right?
Yeah, it's definitely good because I got a
Yeah,
494 last time.
yeah.
So that's why this time I'm like, I just want to at least get
Mm-hmm.
a 500.
Yeah.
But I feel like with these exams, they're easier. The ones on AMC are easier than the actual ones. So I'm like, I need to be scoring higher on these because when I get to the test day, it's gonna be much more like me being nervous than I am while taking a practice exam and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be more confounding variables.
uh, no. Here. When I look at the data, remember, um, they're basically like they're roughly similar, but I see like, well, okay, like I see like, um, all right, so full length 3 average for people. Okay, so full length 3 average was 521.96, whereas the actual MCAT average was 524.53.
Mm.
And then full length 2 average was 520.23.
Which this AMC full into?
Yeah. And
Oh,
again, this is, everyone who scored 100 percentile.
oh, okay, okay.
Remember that spreadsheet?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I have I have the data right here. So
Mm-hmm.
I can, answer your questions. So, like, um, here, let me do this.
So I'm like, at this
You could
point,
you could see my
I'm
screen?
tired of. No, let me stop sharing.
Uh oh. Okay, you see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the spreadsheet. I took yeah, you know about this. Like I
Mm-hmm.
took all of like this is from people like, from 2000 like 18 to,
Mm-hmm.
2019, and I just
Yeah.
sorted it by people who scored, 524 523 or higher. So
Mm-hmm.
here is, the average actual score that they got.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how that's like, 523.53. So okay. Now
Mm-hmm.
for the average for full length 1, it was a 519.01,
Okay.
and then full length 2, it was 520.23.
Mm-hmm.
And they took it in order, so you're going to see, a slight increase. Full length 3, 521.96.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the real shit. But like, yeah, even for you're saying that the actual one's going to be harder, but the data shows that the actual one they score higher in.
Okay.
Um and yeah, like for instance, and then in the green is like what, and the same thing with next step. Like, yeah, see how these are all like 511s and 510s and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The next step I was making like 127, 126, so I was confused as to why I'm making the same thing with AMC.
Oh, the reason is the confounding variable, which is that we didn't do the cars section for next step.
True.
So that means that, I mean, it's good because, you know, that's not like useful for your time, but if you're comparing your progress with next step with your progress with the AMC exams, it's because on the AMC exams, that's an extra what, like, how long are the sections?
Hour. Well, that one is cars
80?
is an hour 30.
All right, 90 minutes. So that's an additional 90 minutes. So that's going to play on your like fatigue, and yeah. So, you know, that's why I'm saying like when people say like, you know, people place too much like significance on their practice test scores, but you know, the data shows otherwise. Because see these results for the next step. Next step average was 511.43 for people who scored an average of 524.53.
Wow.
So, you know, so that's more than a 10%. I mean, that's more than a 10 point. That's like a 12 point
increase.
Yeah. So the next step scores are essentially a 12-point deflation.
Got you.
And
okay.
So yeah, with the full length, like you see how they are like basically lower than whatever the what they actually get on the actual exam.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the actual one being tougher. But just just take it as you take kind of anything, I guess. Like I got like a 526, and I didn't take next step 2, but I took next step 1 and I got a 510, and then I didn't take 3. I took next step 4 and I got a 505.
Next step 4 or
Oh, sorry, AMC.
Oh, what did you get on AMC for?
Oh, here, 505. Can you see that here?
How the hell did you get a 505 and then got a 526 on the exam?
Yeah, see, like, because you improve.
If my score can go up that high,
Like here, this was July 12th, 504. I mean 505, and then this was July 18th, 510.
Wow.
So yeah, but yeah, I got 505 and 510. So
okay.
So yeah,
So it is good that I'm going backwards. Should I do next step? I mean, not next step. AMC for next.
Just try to do it. I think doing it in order is good. You can do it whatever order you want, I guess. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it in order, but yeah, I don't know, but okay, yeah, you can share.
I'm not that worried about Kim. I just need to stop making stupid mistakes. But with bio too, I guess we could do BB next because it's still the same problem. Graphs that are difficult okay, but we did this one.
Yeah, you can share your screen again.
I'm sharing it.
Oh,
you don't see it?
Wait. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So yeah, back to this. So let's see.
Should we just do the wrong ones?
Wait. I want to see how I did on the cars on my tests, because let's see. To kind of give you a score report. So yeah. So my cars was like the lowest as well.
Yeah.
For practice test 1. Oh, and then for...
When we have the combos, it makes me want to go take the next full length now.
When
So I'm
what's
like,
that?
try again. I said when we have these type of conversations, like how to improve, what I want to do is to go take the next full length now.
Yeah, that's good. That's motivation.
I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow to do the third one. Damn, they need to email me back. Like, what is wrong with my AMC 1?
What exactly happens when you try to...
Let me show you real quick. And it's so, like, I don't know how many times I would pause my thingy, my full length, and then when it wouldn't, like, it would say unsynced activity, even for the next tip 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, AMC 2. So when I press reset, it just doesn't do anything. It usually pops up and says, like, right here that it's...
For some reason, I'm trying to look at my breakdown for when I took Next Step 4. I mean, in AAMC 4, and it doesn't let me see that. Okay, let me see yours. Let's see.
See, like, I press it and it doesn't, and then I press resume test, and it doesn't let me resume.
Let me see. Go back again. What you showed me before. Okay, so let's see. Unlimited, paused, most recent score report. Okay, you took again. So I guess you took all of these before.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
But I don't remember the answers. Obviously,
it was like 2019.
Yeah.
Geez. Okay.
The last time I took this was 1 year ago.
Oh, I just noticed that it says, okay, 2020. Damn.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. But it's fine. I'll just wait. If they email me, hopefully they do. If not, I guess I'll press score report and just go through the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this would be the last one I do. And go through the questions and see if I can get the ones I got wrong right, I guess. See, and it says changes you may not be saved. Like, it's not done syncing, but usually it just lets me hit reset. That's what I did with AMC 2.
You know what? There might be... So, okay. If you go to user portal.
Mm-hmm.
And then hit that, practice up test 1 exam button. Okay, let's see. Okay, it does say that there's a test available. And you tried canceling that one, and resuming didn't work, canceling didn't work, resetting didn't work.
Nope.
Okay.
Don't mind this score. This one was me testing something out, so that score is not accurate.
What have you been testing out? Maybe it's the secret.
I was like, okay, let's see if I go back, because I looked at how many questions I changed, or I guess right on and change or something like that. So I went back and put the first answer I chose for some of them, and yeah. I was like, if I kept my answers, this is the score I would have had. But yeah, because this one I don't remember. I don't remember. Was it AM's? Let me see. I think I mostly did that for the Kim and because I don't be caring about cars, because I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna improve on that.
I mean, that,
Yes, if I could get a 126 in cars, I would literally be good.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's why it's
messing me up.
It's worth improving, because it's a section that you have the most to improve on, right? Because the other ones, like, yeah. So do you want to go back to
Because these are the
cars or?
scores I got. See,
Mm-hmm.
these are like the scores. The only score that's changed is this PS. I made a 126 this time. But
Yeah.
if I would have got a 126 on this section,
Mm-hmm.
this and the practice exam too, I would have made a 506.
Yeah. And they want to see like an even distribution because yeah. So yeah, I'm more concerned about your car score because when they look at it all, like the 121 is gonna stand out because the
Yeah.
127 is good, the 127 is good, the 126 is good. So what? Let me look at content and skills breakdown. So let's see what types of questions that
Reasoning
we
within the text. That's crazy. How
reasoning
I
within the
get
text. So I mean,
it's right there in front of me and I still get it wrong. So they basically saying, girl, you get the easiest questions wrong.
yeah,
Because reasoning beyond the text, I got a 64, but that's the one I did the best. Those are the questions I did. It's
yeah.
crazy.
The breakdown is very useful for me. Let's see. I was So okay, then let's look at the types of sections.
I do better on the social sciences,
Yeah,
which makes sense. That's
economics.
how I think.
Okay.
I don't think about art and literature and music. Like, those are not my fields.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Reasoning within the text. How?
Okay. So yeah. So we know, we have, we see a pattern of, things to work on, right?
Yeah. This
So
one week. Oh my God. One more week,
yeah.
literally.
All right. So let's yeah. I want to spend time on cars. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go back to that. Okay. See these.
This
All
was
right.
the
Another thing that I've noticed. So
question.
if you go back a bit.
Like, scroll
Oh
like
no. Back to
up.
the last page where it showed you the no like yeah. Where you get it like done reviewing. All right. So now. Oh no. Question. Just regular question review.
Mhm.
And so look. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that. Um.
It takes me long to read the passages. Look, 4 minutes, 56
Oh
seconds.
no, no, that's fine. That's explainable. But that one right there.
Which one? 1 minute, 8 seconds.
Yeah, is wait is number 6 the start of another passage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So wait, that makes sense. All right, go through. Keep going. I want to see this timing thing. So that's a new. All right. So that isn't so bad.
But this 1 minute, 45 seconds is the same passage for 13, and that's very long. Wow,
Uh,
2 minutes, 28. I think this is a new passage. This is one of the ones I guessed on because I
mm-hmm.
came back to it when I had like 15 minutes left.
All right. Hit the button that says filter, and then correctness incorrect. All right. So now let me see these. So you can like scroll through. Okay. So let's see. Okay. All right. You know what? Yeah, we can work on these. Um, does it let you review it by that, or you have to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, it lets me.
Okay.
So
So I
we
think we
already did
did
this
that
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on this one.
Okay. All right. So okay. This is a new one. So let's see. So um, let me see if I can answer it with just the question. Suppose that experiment 1 is repeated with the addition of a hostile audience, and it does provides data equivalent to the supportive audience condition. what would best accommodate this outcome. All right, let's see the passage.
Which experiment did they say?
Like just I guess 1 and 2. So let me see.
Experiment 1 is here.
All right, experiment 1. Okay. Okay, the results says that a supportive audience has a detrimental effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then let's go down. Okay, and then for experiment 2, says that
Skill performance would suffer with a supportive audience.
all right. Let me
So
sorry. Let me
same,
see
right?
experiment 1 again.
Right here.
Oh, no, like above that where they talk about it. So experiment 1, by a friend and stranger, a task that is stressful.
Ooh, I'm tired. I'm actually coming to New York
Oh, really?
the day after my MCAT.
Oh, you're taking it in New York?
No, I'm taking it here, but I'm
Okay.
going to New York the day after.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, well, it'll hopefully be warmer then because it's super cold now.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna snow today.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let me see the top,
let you finish this.
that
That's
first
all.
paragraph. So so it seems that this is basically trying to say that okay.
This is actually a psychology phenomenon.
Yeah, it's the
I forgot.
Yerkes
Facilitation.
Dodson effect.
Social facilitation, right?
So they're basically trying to find out if having an audience of like friends and support the people who support you, how that affects you, right? So experiment 1,
Yep.
they had them to do something that's difficult in front of a supportive audience, and it had a detrimental effect. And then for experiment 2, I was trying to see. Okay. Oh wait. All right. Experiment 2. All of them were supporters. And
Them were strangers.
oh, sorry, strangers. Okay. And
It confirmed the prediction that a skill performance would suffer with a supportive audience.
Okay. And then I guess all right.
And that's
So
the same as here.
let's see that question. Suppose experiment 1 is repeated with the addition of a hostile audience condition, and this. Okay. So supportive is the opposite of like a hostile audience, right?
Yeah.
So how would this? Oh, and they're saying that it provides data equivalent to supportive audience. So okay. If it's going to produce data equivalent to supportive audience condition, and a supportive audience condition had a detrimental effect on performance, we can cross out A.
Yep.
Okay. We can cross out D.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
A non-hostile audience.
Accommodate this outcome. Accommodate.
Their questions are so.
I'm trying to. Let's see. Is it C?
Equivalent.
What's that? Yeah. Is it C?
Yeah, C.
Okay. So it's gonna be C because okay. They're saying how can you explain the fact that if your audience loves you, you do just as bad as if your audience hates you?
Oh my God. That means that it doesn't matter. It's just the audience part.
Yeah, it's
Having the
just
audience
them
period.
being involved.
Yep.
But you see how A cannot be right, D cannot be right,
And that's what I put. And
B is just it's we already know that.
Yeah.
And accommodate is saying how can we best like make sense of this.
Yep.
So it doesn't make
I
sense that
don't
it's
think this
involved.
way when I'm taking it. I do not think this way. My thing is
Or
hurry up, answer. You got it. You take too long anyway, so hurry up. Come on, let's go.
well, yeah, just I know it's easier said than done, but
Breathing exercises for real.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right, let's see the next one.
got that one.
Experiment 1, which of the following hypotheses would account for post-experimental statements? Okay, I gotta see that. Post-experiment, so
Right here.
post-experimental questions, um, okay, indicated that they were not, wait, participants are the ones who are doing the task, right? Wait,
Yeah.
aware of the effect of the observer on their performance. Okay. In fact, participants in the supportive audience condition were less likely than those in the neutral audience condition to report being distracted by the observer or feeling stress during the task. Negative effect is not due to discomfort being judged. What's the observer here?
I'm trying to remember neutral. What was the neutral?
Oh, it's the one-way mirror thing, maybe? Okay. But, oh, okay, alright. Let's see that. Who believed a friend was watching them, higher errors than those who believed that it was a stranger. But in something, there's the same in two conditions. The decrement in supportive audience condition resulted from a lower rate of responding. Okay. Indicating they're not aware of the effect of that. In fact, people in the supportive audience were less likely to be distracted. Okay. So the negative effect is not due to the discomfort of being judged. Supporter, okay. Impaired the performance of a difficult skill bit. Okay. Reduces speed without increasing accuracy. So that's their hypothesis as to why they're having that negative effect.
What?
Oh, that they were taking. Wait, let's see. By promoting a response style that reduces speed without increasing accuracy. So when they're being observed, they answer slower, but without getting better at accuracy. All right. Okay, and then above that it says the supportive audience condition had a slower rate of responding, and then the neutral one basically had okay, like
Oh, the neutral one, there was no audience there, right?
oh, it's just that there's always an audience. It's just that there's a supportive one and a neutral one. And that's why in the last question they asked for a hostile one.
Got you.
So,
and
yeah.
Because where did they say that here? Effect of a supportive audience on performance.
So, okay, let me see that question again. So they're saying, which hypothesis would account for the post-experimental statements made by those in the neutral condition? They're saying that, so in the neutral condition, Let's see. I mean, I think it said.
I think it. No, I don't think it's A. No.
All right, let me just look at where it talks about experiment one more time. So, okay. So, let's see.
Right here. One-way mirror, telling half the participant that a friend who had accompanied them to the testing room. See, this is the part that confused me, where they said participants who believed that a friend was watching them made a significantly higher percentage of errors than did those who believed that a stranger
Yeah,
was watching. But is
strangers
that
and
still
neutral.
all in the supportive audience group?
No. So it works. So the supportive audience is one that supports you, right?
Yeah,
So stranger is neutral,
got you.
and hostile is someone who hates you, an audience that
Okay,
hates you, right?
that
So
stranger.
yeah, so that's what they mean by stranger and neutral.
Got you.
So they're saying that, in this test, they made more errors if they had
Oh,
a supportive audience.
I think this is the important piece of information.
Yeah,
Number of errors made at particular stages of the performance was almost identical.
yeah.
So it's not it wouldn't be anything that talked about the performance, right? These two, C or D.
Mm-hmm.
And then a performer's anxiety can be reduced with no effect on performance. No, they said the neutral people did better.
So all I see from the post, like, let me see that post. Um, whatever post experiment questions again. So
Mhm.
it's basically saying that they were not aware of the effect of the observer on their performance. I think I think that's where it basically says it. I think I was reading too much into it, but it says okay that they were not aware of the effect, and um okay, and then they
What do
say
they mean? They were not aware of the effect of the observer. Oh, okay. But then participants in the supportive condition were less likely than those in the neutral audience to report being distracted.
mm-hmm, or by the observer or feeling stress while doing the task, right? So
Okay. So,
and then it says the negative effect um uh, go up a little. It
oh,
says
sorry. I
negative
thought
the
you were.
negative effect of supportive audience is not due to discomfort about being judged.
And guess who highlighted that? I did.
Yeah, I know. That's good. Your highlighting is good. Everything is your highlighting is right. Um, so basically, what I'm getting from this is that one, the participants' answers, or the participants are saying that they were not aware of the effect,
Hmm.
um, which is good because that just says that it's like a blind study or something,
Hmm.
right? Because yeah, and then they're telling us that that although they were not aware of the effect, right, in the supportive audience condition, they were less likely to report feeling anxiety compared to the neutral. And then it says that the negative effect of the supportive one is not due to the discomfort of being judged, which I take as anxiety.
Yeah.
They're identical in the two conditions. So, yeah, so I guess that's why the answer will be that, the anxiety, because of course the performance changed, but the anxiety kind of stayed the same. And again, cars, the answer that's right is just the one that's least wrong. That's why cars is hard, and that's why it took me a while to get good at it. But yeah, if I just look at the other choices, a performer's anxiety can be reduced with no effect on performance. We don't see anything about reducing anxiety. Then it says an audience can affect a performance by reducing performance anxiety, and an audience can affect a performance by causing. Remember, we just see correlation stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So that won't be
and
it.
it said something about performance, that thing that I highlighted up here. Well, I tried to highlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they made the same errors or something. So it wouldn't be. Okay.
Yeah. So the post-experimental statements made by those in the neutral condition, yeah, they basically said that, that they were less likely to whatever, say that they were stressful, but they had better performance. I know part of it said that they had the same performance, but overall they had better performance in the neutral condition. So
Yeah.
let's see what they say. Less likely to report feeling distracted. Okay, this must mean that those in the neutral condition were more likely to report more likely to report distraction or stress. But the passage also tells us that they had better performance. Oh, okay. I think I see what they're saying, because they're saying that they felt less distracted when it was like people who in the supportive audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then yet they performed better when they were with the neutral audience that they were more distracted by. So it's saying that although they were more distracted by a neutral audience, they performed better. And
Gotcha.
distraction, I'm, connecting with anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because an adverse effect means negatively affecting it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, and A is the only choice that says, that isn't like absolute. Like it says, need not be. It says need not adversely affect performance. That's saying that, like, yeah, that's basically saying that it doesn't have to adversely affect performance. If it said performer's anxiety does not adversely affect performance, is different. Need not means that it just means that it doesn't have to, but it can. But yeah, that was, for those types of questions, best way is just look at the other choices and choose the one that's least wrong.
Okay.
That's for like everything in cars. Okay. Purpose of experiment 2 was to, okay, they said experiment 2. So Supportive observers impair performance. Okay, by promoting a style that reduces speed without increasing accuracy. So now experiment 2. Oh, all of them are observers now. Okay, and their supportiveness was manipulated. So
All of them were strangers, right?
yeah, they were all strangers, but they basically, okay. Let's see, but they weren't told, right? They were. It's like a placebo kind of thing. Like they were all strangers, but they were told like these are supportive and these are they're being told the same things in experiment 1. Okay, and then
Right.
they say
Okay.
that the experimenter told participants in the supportive audience condition that both they and their observer would receive a cash prize if their speed and accuracy surpassed a certain criterion, which is a singular version of criteria. Participants in the neutral audience condition were told that they alone were to receive a prize for a good score. Okay. Um, okay, and then they thus had no reason to suppose that the observer cared about the quality of their performance. And then experiment 2 confirmed the prediction that a skilled performance would suffer with the supportive audience. So the purpose of experiment 2 was to, let's see, uh, let me check one more time.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
know.
leaning on
Oh, this is that
A.
I changed my answer on.
I'm leaning on A.
Okay. You want me to scroll up?
Oh, is it? Is it A?
No, it's D.
Mofo. Okay, let's see. uh. Okay. Yeah. No. Be certain.
A, like
It's wrong because
that
of
one
the
is
be
too,
certain.
yeah,
So
that one is too extreme, right?
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. Determine the relevance of friendship to the audience effect. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
better way of stating it. Because they're basically just trying to say like um like above that they're saying the problem with experiment 1 is that friends and strangers differ in many ways, right?
Mhm.
So we need to see exactly how friends you know affect, like how different we need to see like how friends and strangers are different. So they
Yeah.
kept it all strangers, and they manipulated it to say that some of them are whatever friends and some of them are strangers when they were just all strangers. So yeah, if it said determine the relevance of friendship, yeah, that's a much more moderate way of saying that. I should have followed my own advice with A because it's
And that's
wrong.
literally what I chose, and then I changed my answer
Yeah,
to
because the be
to yeah.
certain thing, yeah, is too um yeah, it's too whatever, it's too absolute.
Because then it says other questions remain, so they wouldn't be certain about whatever
Yeah.
happens in
Oh, you know
either.
what? That's a good find. You're right about that. Yeah. So they
Thank
can't
you.
be certain. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just wish I thought like this during the thing. Okay, give me 1 second. I have to use the restroom really
Sure.
bad. I guess you can read this while I.
Yeah. Is there a way for you to uh like make it so I can see all of it? Like if you zoom out.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Are you done reading it?
Yeah, I gotta say this is a hard passage.
Yeah. What was this? Oh,
It's from the
it's funny
enjoyment
because
of art. Really?
I actually like this passage, but I don't remember. Let me see if I got
The art ones are yeah.
I got two wrong.
Okay. All right, so that's good. Contradictory statements are implicit in the passage. Poetry and visual art are so it's basically the gist that I get is that people can only appreciate things that's familiar to them.
Yeah.
And
yep. What I took from it.
And so poetry and visual art doesn't talk anything about it. Only artists can truly appreciate art. Nope, that's not true. There is a single standard by which nope. But the thing with D, we can appreciate only that which we recognize. That's like what they're talking about. But then they also talk about, it's being open to new, right? Like where it says, like here.
My eyes, it's too small.
Okay. So yeah, on the bottom it says the task of the appreciator is to develop the personal capacity to receive and enjoy.
Okay, because I thought they did talk about poetry and something up here. No. Wow. Okay. So basically,
yeah, okay, I see where they say poetry. Let's see. In the reading of poetry, we seek the expression of ourselves.
Where is that at?
It's in the middle. Yeah.
Oh. So I guess for these type of questions, like, do I just go with the main idea?
Always go to the main idea, yeah.
Okay.
So, like, in those choices, that's why I looked at the thing. We appreciate only that which we recognize is the main idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And, like, A, that's just, like... I mean, like, anything can be similar and anything can be different, right? That's not contradictory because similar doesn't mean same.
Got you. I guess this question confused me because it said implicit. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not something that was explicitly stated. They're trying to tell us to imply.
Yep.
So that's why I was just, I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not going to... It's implicit. But, yeah. So, like, A wouldn't be it for the reason that I said, right? Because they're not really contradictory. Like, similar is not same. If you said that they are the same and then say that they are different, that's contradiction. But similar means that they're not completely the same, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference between similar and same.
Yep.
And then only artists can truly appreciate art. And then art appreciation is what makes us human. That's not a contradiction either. It would be one if they said only artists can truly appreciate art, and then, the person who views art can also appreciate art. That would be a contradiction, right? But this is saying only artists can truly appreciate art, and then that's what makes us human, and artists are human. I don't see any contradiction there.
Mm-hmm.
Then C, there is but a single standard by which to judge art. And there are many ways to appreciate art is also not a contradiction. This can actually be answered just with the choices. Now let me just see. Why is C not a contradiction?
There's a single standard, and then there are many ways to appreciate.
So single standard meant what? What is it saying that there's a single standard for doing?
To judge art?
Yeah. Judge and appreciate are different.
Gotcha.
Judging is to, say like, okay, this is good, this is bad, right?
Mhm.
And appreciate is like, this is good, and I really,
Yeah.
appreciate it. So right away, A, B, and C are not contradictory statements,
Okay.
whereas D is the only contradictory statement. So this
Mm.
one, like, even like the answer, like explanations, they don't even say it, and and that's stupid of them because you
Yeah.
can answer it based on the fact that D is the only contradictory statement. And I also answered it first because they talked about it, so that was the implicit in the passage aspect of it.
Got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then this one, which of the following statements would he most likely agree? That which delights
I
is.
actually changed my answer for this one too.
Oh, okay, so let's see. That which delights is always that which is right. The more things we can appreciate, the richer our being. To be human is to be an artist. A tree is just a tree. uh, okay. I think this maybe would be in our second paragraph. So they're saying, okay, um, man is a measure of all things. Measure of beauty is determined by, okay, joy and appreciation are determined by, okay,
Wait,
yeah.
sorry. This answer, the more that things we appreciate, the richer our being.
Mm-hmm.
It's in this last paragraph.
Um,
That capacity is to be trained by the exercise of itself. Each new harmony that someone is enabled to perceive intensifies the power to feel and widens the range of vision.
oh wait, there. The more beauty a person appreciates in the
Yeah.
world, so much more of the universal forces such that such a person brings into unity with the personality that is a hallmark of self. Yeah, I guess it's there. So, he's saying the more thing it like he's gonna agree basically that um I mean this entire thing is about appreciation, so that's one of the reasons that, you can choose B. Like let's say you're running out of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um just choose the thing that is about the main idea, right?
Got
in
you.
in the previous questions, like I gave you like actual reasons for why the answer's right and the other answers are wrong, but
Yeah.
obviously like on the test you're going to be running out of time. So worst
Mm-hmm.
case scenario, like those questions that we went over, the answer still had to do with the main idea, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're running out of time here, appreciate, it's all about appreciation. I would just hit that. I'd hit it and flag it, but that's
Okay.
that's
Do you mind
basically.
if I eat while we doing this? I'm starving.
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay. Okay. So I'll go to the next one.
Tell me what when you put the food in your mouth, what starts what chemical digestion starts?
What's the answer choices?
Ah! All right, you don't get any answer choices.
Okay, so are you talking about like mechanoreceptors, baroreceptors, that type of stuff?
Well, those are for sensing.
That's for psych. Yeah.
Uh,
So what's the question again?
all right, the choice. So like you're eating and food contains like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, are you asking what type of reaction?
yeah, I guess I could say which one starts to get digested first.
The carbs.
Okay. And tell me more. So, like, yeah, how? Like, why?
Carbs because of glycolysis and it'll feed
Ooh,
into
well, so okay,
glucose. It'll break down into glucose first.
so
And then,
so okay,
oh, go ahead.
in your saliva,
Hmm.
there's amylase,
Yep.
and that breaks down the amylo like pectin like bonds.
Hmm.
So in your mouth, that's where the first like the carbs first start to get digested.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
Oh, that's what you were asking.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. Yeah. I always like think of things like that,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I think it kind of helps.
Yeah.
But I
Because
do
I
it
feel like
because I'm interested in it.
remember amylase now.
Salivary amylase, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes into your stomach, right? And
Yep.
what gets broken down there?
I know the pH is low, is very acidic in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So are you asking if the food gets broken down even more, or
Well, it'll get broken, but like which part of the food, like carbs, proteins, or fats?
proteins?
Okay, good. So how do you know that?
Because proteins contain amino acids,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in the stomach, with the whole pH being low, it can alter the amino acid, right?
So
It,
okay, so the low pH in the stomach is primarily there to activate. Uh, do you know what a zymogen is?
yeah,
What is it?
that's a precursor. It's an inactive precursor.
Yep. So uh, yeah. So there's pepsinogen,
Yep, I saw
and
that.
yeah, the
Deck.
low pH basically activates it into pepsin, and it
Mm-hmm.
breaks peptide bonds.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And and uh yeah, and then the fat starts to get digested, I believe, in the small intestine.
Mm.
But
We got a question wrong
uh-huh.
in B about if something happens, if there's like a basically where does something travel after being in the small intestine? Like
uh
if it's a toxin or something
oh,
like that.
you mean like fats?
No, it was some type of protein that I forgot. I'll show you when we're done
Okay, because
because we're
yeah,
doing
like
biotics.
fats would start to get digested there, and they get absorbed by lacteals, and go through
Yep.
your lymphatic system.
But
But
isn't the lymphatic system dealing with like when you get what is it?
yeah, I know you're thinking of
Like
like
inflammation
lymph
and stuff.
nodes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, when those white blood cells die, they go through the lymphatic system to get to your lymph nodes.
Got you.
Um,
Okay.
okay, so let's see. So let me
My
see.
highlight was bad here because this is one where I had to hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I highlighted a whole bunch of stuff. But
Yeah. So let me see the question. So even though I usually like to read it first, I see that timing is a thing. So let's try to see what we can get what we can get away with. Okay.
mhm.
So let's see. Suppose that the ruins of a 16th century monastery are discovered on a remote island off the Swedish coast. Why is this surprising? So I'm gonna look for that kind of stuff. So let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna look for like okay, a monastery. Okay, all right, and blah blah blah. Okay. Wait, where was Skellig Rock again?
It's in the who? Wait. Oh, right here.
Oh, Irish Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's see. Okay, so okay, good. Um, basically spread rapidly over Europe, and okay, Vikings sacked it. Why? Because
You said Vikings what?
oh, they
Oh,
they sacked it. Yeah.
what does that mean?
What? Oh, sacking? Sacking?
Yeah.
Oh, like you never heard of like the sacking of Rome
No.
or the sacking of Baghdad? That means when that's basically so. Well, all right. What have you heard about Vikings? What do they do generally?
I know they I know how. I can tell you how they look.
But like, what are they,
Like
known for?
stuff, right? Like beating people up. I don't
Uh
know.
huh. Yeah,
Okay.
they basically go to um, whatever towns and cities and stuff, and they basically uh, so sacking is like, yeah, they beat people up, they kill them, they set fire to the city, and they pillage it. So I was gonna say, like, Vikings are known to raid and pillage. Pillaging is taking like the stuff, the valuables,
Uh-huh.
and think of it as, they put it in a sack and then they take it with them, right?
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this happened, with Rome and the barbarians. It happened
Okay.
in Baghdad in like 1243, I think, with Mongols.
Hmm.
Yeah, when a city gets sacked, it's done.
Their valuables are taken.
The valuables are taken. The men are killed. The women are, worse, or taken into slavery. All.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, why would they go and do that?
Because, you know, they can, because, you know, like, that's just, the history of mankind, I guess. It's pretty much always
Damn.
like that. I mean, in school they teach you about the river valley civilizations, right?
Hmm.
Like Mesopotamia and Egypt, right?
Hmm.
And those benefited from having a river, which meant that they can do agriculture. But they never teach you that the rest of the world don't have that. So
Yeah.
the rest of the world have no other choice but to conquer and raid and pillage.
Got
So
you.
like, yeah, like
So
Norway.
they're like savages.
um I wouldn't go as far as to say savages, but I would say, in fact, like, the fact that they're able to sack and conquer, like, a literal civilization. uh
Hmm.
like, I guess, sure, like, maybe whatever, savages in the sense that they don't have like a civilization, right? But
Yeah, that's what I
they're
meant by it.
certainly, they're certainly competent in the sense that they're able to, sack
They're
an
like
actual
bullies,
city.
basically.
Yeah. But
I'm gonna
okay,
just
so
remember them
what's
as
up?
bullies.
Wait,
I'm gonna remember them as bullies.
who?
The Vikings.
Oh, police.
Yeah, bullies.
Oh, bullies.
Yeah.
I would think of them more as, um I guess, like, whatever, people who, like, uh I don't know, like, yeah, sure, we could go with bullies, but, like, think of
Okay.
even worse. Think of, like people who go into your house and kill everyone and take your stuff or something.
Okay.
Anyway, so they sacked it. um
They're bandits.
what's that?
I said they're bandits.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I'm really into history, so I get off on that. Okay, so let's see. All right, so blah
You
blah.
sure?
So, okay, 18th century became a popular place of wait a second. Oh crap. Okay, so later, like this Viking who became the king of Norway was baptized, and that ended the
So
pillaging.
Olive,
Oh, and then,
Olive,
yeah.
he's a Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how did you know that?
Um, well, without bringing in my own knowledge, because it's the super, like, Viking name, but
Mhm.
they're saying that, in the 8th and ninth centuries, Vikings sacked it, right?
Mhm.
And
Oh,
then
so this
at the
paragraph is about Vikings.
yeah, and then at the end they said this dude's conversion brought an end to pillaging.
I asked that. You'll see why. Because the next question I got wrong, I could have got right if I knew that.
Yeah,
But
because I guess since you didn't know sacked,
yeah.
but sacked is the same thing as pillaging.
Okay.
So if they're saying that, they first, pillaged this place,
Mhm.
and then after this dude was baptized,
Mhm.
the Vikings stopped pillaging it.
Okay.
So the dude who got baptized is likely a Viking, right?
Yep.
Like a king of Vikings.
Mhm.
Okay. And then they're saying um, this fire lasted until the 14th century. Okay. Then it turned into cathedrals, and then the 18th century became a popular place of pilgrimage. Okay, from all across Europe, not only traveled. Okay. All right. So this is, in passage type of question, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be looking at time periods, right?
Mhm.
So it seems like, okay, 8th and 9th century was pillaged, and then 14th century. Oh, does it say anything else about that? Because I'm
Trying to
looking.
see. I see 16th century.
Oh. Okay. So first of all, we have that people lived there from perhaps the 6th century into medieval times.
Okay.
Do you see where it says that?
Yeah, up here somewhere I saw that.
Yeah. Left of that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And when is medieval times? Because obviously I hear this term all the time, but
um, so you can
I don't know
answer it
about.
without knowing, but I can tell you because I'm really into that.
Yeah.
Uh, roughly speaking, there's the Dark Ages, which is the early Middle Ages, which is
Mhm.
like around 500 to 1000,
Mhm.
and then High Middle Ages is like 1000 to like 1400 ish.
Okay.
Um, or rather 1000 to like maybe like 1300 ish. Basically, the it's like that's the peak of the medieval era. Like 1350 is essentially when the population reached a peak, but that's also when the bubonic plague happened, and
Mm.
the population dropped. It killed off, I think, 2/3 of Europe's population, and the population didn't return to that level until like the 1800s.
Oh wow.
And it's interesting because when the population dropped, the wages for jobs like shot up.
Mm.
But yeah, and then the late Middle Ages is like around like let's say like whatever, like 1400, 1500s.
Mhm.
1500s is when the Renaissance started.
Yeah.
So basically, medieval times is
500 to 1400.
till 1500. So let's say it's that 1,000 year period.
Got you. Okay.
So essentially, it's from the fall of Rome
Mhm.
to, and in the Renaissance, they started to look back at things from Rome to
Mhm.
recreate it, and that kind of, so it's just, yeah, it's the in between the, yeah, that's why we say Middle Ages. It's in between, the ancient classic like ages, like, you know ancient Roman stuff, and modern era or whatever.
Okay.
So okay, 6th
There's
century,
nothing
right?
here about there's nothing here about the 16th century, I don't think.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to, so basically people first lived there, or lived there from the 6th century to medieval times, and then
Mhm.
8th and 9th century the Vikings sacked it, right?
Yeah.
And then they said that, um, this whatever fire or some crap lasted until the 14th century, right?
Mhm.
And then they said in the 18th century, it became a popular place of pilgrimage, right? So now
Mhm.
they're just saying that, um,
Oh, due to the fire? No.
yeah, like it was destroyed, I guess,
Yeah.
or yeah, I don't know what that fire. Anyway, but so basically we have 14th century and 18th century, right? So 16th century will be, in between the two.
Mm-hmm. So it
Um,
wouldn't be C because that was 8th and 9th centuries,
oh, yeah, let me see that. So,
or D because that was like 6th between medieval times.
okay, let me look at that. Okay, so I was just looking at stuff at the passage. Let me see. So, why is this discovery surprising? Few European pilgrims have been able to reach the site. The arithmetical motive. Where does it say that word for the first time? Because I don't. Oh, it's the movement of people of pilgrimage. If you scroll up a bit, let me just see. They said,
Oh, right here
the
was not used to Christianity.
okay, hermits. Okay, hermitage. Okay, so that means basically, um, geez. Okay, so that changes things because I think they mean by fire when they say fire, they mean like a lot of people would, whatever, go there. All right, let me see that whatever the question. Okay, few European pilgrims would have been able to reach the site. An arithmetical motive would have been unlikely at that period. The influence of Olav did not spread to Sweden. Monks would have been unlikely to learn of such an island. Let's see. Remote island off the Swedish coast. Why
And it's
is
usually
this?
Ireland, right?
Yeah, the original one is in Ireland, and this thing spread, and Sweden, is where Vikings come from, along with Norway, and 8th and 9th centuries. I'm trying to see, it lasted until the 14th century. Then the rock reverted to the fishhawks. All across Europe, the dark, shadowy oratories of hermits were superseded by the. Oh, okay. So, 14th century, basically, people stopped going to monasteries because monasteries are full of hermits. They don't leave; they stay there, like as monks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that stopped. Like people stopped doing that apparently in the 14th century because of cathedrals being made in cities.
Where do you see that?
Oh, just the last paragraph.
Oh,
Like,
uh,
yeah. So, superseded by urban cathedrals.
mm-hmm. Yeah. This is why I hate these type of passages
Um,
because they
yeah,
say not
it's
to use outside knowledge, but on these you have to know some outside knowledge. You have to have some outside knowledge.
um, I mean, I think in the beginning of the passage they would have kind of talked about it a bit. Like here, like they're saying basically that. Okay, so wait, so I think I know how to do this. So as of now, it's uninhabited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it was first inhabited from the 6th century into medieval times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, and then they're saying that yeah, it's reached from sea. Okay, it's only okay. All right. Okay. All right.
What time do you have to? Do you have a meeting today?
Um, 4:30.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to meet after, we could do that as well. But let me see. So,
Maybe for an extra hour. I
okay.
just want to go over bio stuff.
Okay. Um, all
Ooh,
right, all right.
shoot.
I'm just gonna answer it from what I can see. So, um, okay. So I guess it says that that arithmetical. So like the fire is what is confusing, but that basically means that people are doing that, right?
The fire, what now?
So they're saying that people. So okay, the Skellig movement flourished, right? Like people went to the monastery, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ended around the 14th century,
Mm-hmm.
and it started again in the 18th century,
Okay.
like right under that, yet in the 18th
Yeah.
century.
Mm-hmm.
And so 16th century is between 14th and 18th. And if it ended in the 14th and started in the 18th again, then
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's likely. I spent too much time on this because I focused on the Swedish aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However, this entire movement involves just the existence of monasteries. If they found it on the Swedish coast, that means that people are, you know, it's the movement of making monasteries, going to monasteries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it ended in the 14th century, started again in the 18th century, and as of now, no one goes to it, right? So if you look at that, the choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me see the rest of them. So okay, um, I mean, if the monastery is off the Swedish coast, I mean, the influence of that guy would have spread to Sweden, right? Because he, brought an end to the pillaging, right? So C can't be
Yeah.
it. D, the monks would have been unlikely to learn of such an island. And A, few of them would have been able to reach the site. I mean, it doesn't say, like, it says that the Skellig thing was super hard to reach, but many of them were able to reach that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be B, just because of it saying that lasted until the 14th century and started again in the 18th century.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing the answer would say the same. The answer choice. I mean So they're saying, yep, exactly, 14th century, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Did I get, how many did I, yeah, I got like 3 wrong on this one.
All right. This one. Okay. Connected with which of the assertions? Okay. Stubborn sufficiency about a place that's irresistibly attractive, similar to Hermitage's first king in Norway. Movement was
Right.
like a frenzy. So, okay, why is it... Yeah, okay, there it is.
I literally highlighted it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I changed my answer
it's
for this
that.
one. Yep.
So, yeah, A is the answer, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you see why, right?
Yep.
Okay. Reasoning within the text. All right. A visitor to Skelling, Michael, who kissed its stone, probably did so for which of the following reasons?
Why the hell I took
Is it whatever B or
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, like when you make a pilgrimage, like like when you go to Mecca, right?
Yep.
You don't do it to become a saint or and why would they be spared by Viking marauders, right? They would do
Hmm.
the opposite because they're gonna kill people who are whatever Christians and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And then to be accepted into the monastery, like, uh, yeah, no, because it's a visitor, right? They're doing it
Yeah.
just just like kiss a stone, they're doing it, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe let me see one of the harder passages that I had. Yeah, this one was one because this I ran out of time for this one, and then this one, yeah, it was difficult. I got all like a few wrong. This one is one that I ran out of time for, so I got most of those wrong. See, I think did I get all of those wrong? Wait, where? Mm, yep. Yeah, I guess, yeah, the rest of these are all hard, except for
Mm-hmm.
this one. This one was just, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, for the ones I got the most questions wrong on, it's because I ran out of time and those are the ones I did. So this one that we just did, passage 4, is one that I came back to and had to rush through. This one was one as well, which is why it's only like one thing highlighted
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And then passage 6, I guess didn't understand it. Yeah, I didn't, because I didn't run out of time for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then passage 7, yep, ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
This one,
Okay, it seems like you're able to choose the one. You're able to go through the passages and be like, okay, this one's like too much for me now. Let me go on to this one
yeah,
because I see more highlighting on like the later passages here.
yeah. That's why the earlier ones are the ones I went back to.
Yeah, like the ones in the middle. It seems.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, which one do you wanna go over?
I mean, you have to go, right? You said 4:30.
Yeah, we got 17 minutes.
Okay. We can just go in order because I mean, all of these, yeah,
Or
especially,
I think in
yeah.
the 17 minutes you can show me the ones for BB or CP. We could knock those out probably in 17 minutes.
Okay. And I know exactly which one for BB. This is here. This was one of the passages. And then this one. And it's short, I know, but it
Mhm.
had a lot going on.
All right, let's see. Based on the passage, let me see that question. Because for these, always look at that question first. So
Yeah,
let's see.
always. Yeah.
Fox P3 affects ERB P2 expression in non-cancerous mammary epithelium, most likely by directly. All right, let's see. Fox. So okay, Fox P3. Okay. Um, and then let's see.
So I can tell you it's right here. Cancerous mammary epithelium has 8 to 12-fold more mRNA for the transmembrane cell surface receptor ERB2. So I was
Binds to specific sequences on the promoter, and the deletion of these binding sites increases expression from that promoter to. Oh wait. Okay. Okay. It binds to the promoter of the gene, and the deletion of these binding sites increases expression from the promoter. Let me see this. FOXP3 gene. That's the gene.
Hey, when they say gene, does that deal with just DNA?
Yeah, it's a portion of DNA, and when it's expressed, it turns into mRNA and stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So, okay.
I'll show you what I wrote for this. I was trying to write stuff down, but I can't find it. Oh.
I think the answer is there in the more mRNA.
Yeah, because
And
that's I don't know why I would use protein if you want to inhibit it, you would want to inhibit mRNA first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this one. Given that the tumorigenicity of are dependent on that intracellular signaling, mice injected with variants of this cell line that have which of the following modifications would be most likely to survive the longest? So, okay, it seems that so that's when I was looking at how when FOXP3 binds to specific sequences in the ERB promoter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it does normally, and when you delete the binding sites, causing it not to bind to that promoter, right? It causes more expression from that promoter. Oh, okay, let's see. Alright, wild type are easily detected in non-cancerous epithelium, but are undetectable in mammary epithelium from the same. Okay, let me just see. Wild type. So that. Okay, so wild type. Alright, and then that SF thing. Scurfin allele and a wild type allele of the FOXP3 gene. So something with scurfin? Okay, so wild type ones are easily detected in non-cancerous epithelium. Alright, from the female, like, whatever.
Undetectable in cancerous.
Okay, wild type carried on the inactivated in 15%. Cancerous for the transmembrane surface receptor. Okay. And then binds to sequences on that promoter, increases the expression of the ERB promoter. The growth rate when injected into inverse. Okay, so the tumorigenicity growth rate correlates inversely with FOXP3 expression. Alright, I got it. So the more FOXP3 that's expressed means that there will be less growth of the tumors, right?
Yep, and I wrote that down here.
All right. Now we have to connect it to ERB-B. So it seems that FOXP3 when it binds to it binds to ERB-B, right? And when it binds, or when you get rid of its binding site, so aka when it doesn't bind, you get more of the ERB-B.
Yeah, I put FOX3 sites is inversely proportional with ERB-B expression.
Good. So, okay. So
I was confused on what this question was even asking.
Growth rate and ability to cause death inverse when injected into mice. Mice injected with variants of this cell line have which of the following modifications would survive the longest? FOXP3 genes deleted. So, okay, so I'll go choice by choice. Like, if anything, just, do that. So let's see. If the FOXP3 genes were deleted, that's like, the second to last, like, bullet point. It causes more expression, and in deletion of these increases expression from the ERB-B promoter. Okay. So if you delete it, you would get more expression of the ERB-B promoter. Okay. Now, if one of the ERB-B genes was amplified, you would get more of that, because ERB-B2, like ERB-B2, like whatever, produces that surface receptor.
Yeah.
Okay, and the cancerous one has more of the ERB-B. Okay, so, okay. Fox. So, okay. So A and B does the same thing. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, FOXP3 expressing plasmid introduced. So that would mean more FOXP3, which means that, and FOXP3 is proportional, or expression is proportional to, the growth rate and stuff of tumors, right?
It's indirectly proportional.
Yeah. So if we had more FOXP3, we're going to have less of the growth of the tumor cells, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. If we have more FOXP3, then that's good. And then D is also saying the same thing as, A and B, right?
Yeah.
They're just in different ways. Like, if you delete the genes, you're not going to be making the binding sites. And if you're not going to be making the binding sites, you're not going to be making, the ERB-B, whatever. That's the binding sites is ERB-B. Because FOXP3 binds it, yeah. So the only thing that's different is C.
Yeah.
And that's with the correlate inversely part.
Okay. And I literally see, I literally.
Yeah, I mean, this was a short passage, but it was not easy.
Yeah. Oh, I got that one. I don't know how. So with antibodies, they bind to like right here and right here.
Yeah, so those are like variable regions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. and those, they vary like crazy.
Yeah, this one too. 33. Okay, I got. Oh wait, not this one. This one.
I might need more time for this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Are there any like maybe like discretes or anything like that?
Oh yeah, this.
Okay.
Like.
Let's see. Average concentration of ions in pond water and in cytoplasm of green algae cells. Okay. Which process moves chlorine? Oh, into okay. So basically, chlorine. There's more. There's more chlorine in the cytoplasm than in pond water, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
In cytoplasm.
Yeah. So yeah. So like things move so like diffusion is moving from a high concentration to low concentration, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't require energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Osmosis is just diffusion of water.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept. Facilitated diffusion is the same thing, except there's like a transporter, but it's still going from high concentration to low concentration. If you want to do the opposite, go from low concentration to high concentration, it's like trying to get into a packed subway car or something. It's harder. It's hard to do. Like a packed subway car is more likely to push you out than it doesn't require energy, right, to push you out of it, but it requires energy to get into it. So now if there's that little chloride in pond water, and that much of it in the whatever algae, and it comes from whatever pond water, right? It's going from a low concentration to a high concentration, and that requires energy, and that is called active transport. Active transport means that it uses energy to transport something from whatever low to high concentration.
Average of ions in pond water and in the cytoplasm. Yeah. So if you have more in the cytoplasm, I just didn't know how to correlate this with, because I know.
Do you remember like those diagrams of like a cell in like a hypotonic environment, hypertonic environment and stuff?
Yeah.
So that all works through osmosis, which is just diffusion.
Mm-hmm.
So but however here, for all these ions, we have less of it. We're basically having them in an environment that has less of it. So why wouldn't it go if it was diffusion, right? It would go from the cytoplasm into the pond water. But in all of these cases, it does the opposite. And so it's active transport. And then it's also active transport because A, B, and D are all versions of diffusion.
Okay, so what other things are in the cytoplasm that I should know about?
Oh, you don't need to know anything about the cytoplasm to answer that. Just think about the movement,
Yeah, so I know diffusion is from high concentration to low concentration. You don't need energy.
Yeah.
But it said pond water and in the cytoplasm. So when I saw that it was so if it was diffusion, would it just be more in the pond water?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to end this now.
Okay.
And